I spent some time with the homework in the last week. Looking back to see the observer, not finding anything. And been reading a lot too, other Hindu texts where they talk about the same kind of thing.
You just read my mind.
You were going to ask about the homework?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice exercise.
Yeah, it's there's already nobody there. But some it may seem to be coming up that to look, it may be suggested that just look. That's where to see. There is a real somebody who's seeking. Because sometimes it's there's the tendency to assume that there's a real somebody there who's who's doing anything, who's doing things, going to the left, going to the right, and that is seems to be believed in. So somehow the dream seems to go on. Yeah. But that's as it is. It's just what is. That which can never be known. That which is always is can never be understood. As pressing as that. So there's already nothing separate from this. Even looking is this. Not looking is this. Thinking that there's somebody who's looking is already just what it is. Thinking that there's nobody who's looking. So yeah.
There's a weird
Can
thing.
go ahead.
You when you're looking, you immediately get directed back to where you're looking from, and then you see that, but then it feels like you're looking at that from another vantage point. It's like, okay, yeah, but that's still, they seem to often come from the heart or the head. It seems to, you know what I mean? It's like this continually iterative backward thing where it always feels like you're looking from somewhere. But when you look at back where you're looking from, it seems like you're looking from somewhere else. And then logically, it feels like, okay, well, I'm not really looking from anywhere. And you feel a little bit of dissipation of the vantage point. But it feels like a dog chasing its tail, I mean, it's this tricky thing.
Yeah.
Is that what it's
Yeah.
like for you, or do you live in a place of no vantage point?
Well, I don't live in any place. There's no one here who's even living. So I would say there's just looking from nowhere. But in the dream, it may seem as if there are levels. There is looking from here, from behind the eyes, and that as well may seem to expand. There may seem to be an expansion, looking from being detached, looking from here as nothing, and then as well that will be exhausted, will dissipate, and then it is seen clearly that there is just looking from nowhere. Nobody's looking. Even the one who seems to be looking will just vanish and recognize that it will be recognized that there wasn't anyone who was even looking. So there was just what is just looking from nowhere. Vastness. It is already this vastness. What is spaciousness, focusing its attention to the specific, I don't know how to put it. Or it is this already vastness, what is, which is already whole and complete, focusing itself into a specific direction, appearing to look from somewhere from that point. But it's still just this vastness. There's no separation. There's no one looking from a certain level, another one looking from the expanded level. So looking from somewhere is just a dream appearing in this. Being somebody who's looking, that's a dream, that's illusory. And it's not wrong, right? Because it's just an expression of this. This as it is already neutral. It's neutral. It's able to express as the opposites, as good and bad, up and down, left or right, black or white. Mm. But itself as it is already neutral. It's already not a thing. It's already not doing anything, appearing to do something, already not thinking, appearing to think, already not walking, appearing to walk. So that's how it is seen here.
Always,
Sorry?
always. That's how it's always seen there.
Yeah, it is seen. It is seen. There is an apparent character, which means there can be a reaction, a response. If the question is asked, then there can be an answer being given. And if somebody calls this Ngosi, it doesn't say, oh no, I'm not Ngosi. I don't exist. I'm not here. No, there's nobody here. It's just a response as if, there's a real somebody. It doesn't mind the story. It doesn't try to get rid of the story. Because the story as it is already this, is already itself. It doesn't mind uh, its own expressions. It doesn't really mind. Yet it's not an object. It's not a thing that can be pointed to. It's already not a thing. There's already no somebody there who's even listening. It's just already this listening, talking, sitting on a chair, looking, thinking. And an individual has never done anything because there is no individual already to do anything. The thinking that there is an individual, there is somebody there, is also this, which is not somebody, which is not a thing, as pressing as that. So there is already nothing separate from this. There's just this. This is everything already. Yet this isn't a thing already. It's beyond words. It can never really be spoken. It can never really be said. You can't say what this is. This is it's just is. It's just this. It's not trying to do anything. It's not waiting. It's not doing anything. It's neutral. It's just this. It's already there in the midst of tornado happening. It's already there in the midst of thunderstorm, quarrels, misunderstanding, camping. It's already there. It's everywhere and nowhere. It's simply this. It's so simple, even beyond the word simple. It's just is. It's right here. It can never be found because it's never lost. It can never be found because even the finder is already it. So there's nobody to find it because there's just it. It's just this. It's already the case. There's nowhere to get to. The thought that seems to say, maybe there's something to be done for this to be seen. That thought is this too, saying that. So it hides as everything, yet it's not really hiding. It's just this. There are no words, nothing to be done, no efforts. It's already effortless and obvious to itself. It can never be obvious. It can never be effortless and obvious to somebody because there's no somebody. What seems to be the somebody is already just this. So there's no separation. Yet the thought of separation is already that which is not separate from anything. It's already not a thing. It's not a man or a woman. It doesn't have any culture, doesn't have any agenda. It simply is. It's just this. It's not even space.
It's not even space.
Yet,
I thought for sure it was space.
yet space is appearing in it. It appears as space, but it's not uh, really space. It's uh, it's subtler than space.
It's what?
It's subtler. I don't know.
Subtle.
Subtle, yeah.
I guess in my mind, I think of it as manifesting from space. But the way that I experience moments where things are more obvious, there's a lucidity that seems to collapse space. I don't know what that means, but that's kind of how I experience it. But when I think about it, I harness all my scientific knowledge, of, electrical matter, electrical fields, inert space beyond the space that we can see, dark matter, that there's something solid underneath it. I think of it as space. The matter is a small portion of what appears in space. But thinking of it as not being space, I guess. I mean, you challenged me once saying, you never moved from California because there's no movement. You know, sometimes, when you're driving, you can feel that from your perspective. Everything is flat. Things are just moving in and out of that flatness, and that awareness is what's constant. There's something beyond that that's more constant than what appears. But I
Exactly.
always think of it as space. But there's not really any use thinking of it as anything because you can never capture it with the mind anyway, right?
Yeah. There's nothing to hold on to. Nobody to hold on to anything. when you say it's space, the apparent separate self may seem to try to imagine that space, oh, this is space, but it's not. It's no, it's not exactly space. It's beyond that, yet appearing as space.
You know, there was an Indian sage named J. Krishnamurti who lived in the 19th century. Sorry, 20th century. Born in the 19th century, lived throughout. He got to be very old, and he was British Indian, you know, kind of educated in England. He's very eloquent. And he just went on and published many books, wrote many books, and there was a physicist that he became friends with, and the physicist discovered that there's these, you know, um, equations, mathematical equations, and if you took the dimensions of time and space out of these mathematical equations that had been a big mystery to people, then all of a sudden everything things seemed to work out. So he said there's no space and time, that the, you know, because we can solve all the math to him was more real than this. So he came out with that, and J. Krishnamurti saw that and was extremely excited about it. And at this point, you know, J. Krishnamurti, it was influential enough that they had a series of talks on, like, you know, like we're having right now, questioning the nature of reality and matter, and J. Krishnamurti just really pushing these ideas of, you know, 100% not dissimilar to what you're talking about with this physicist who could barely understand him. Obviously brilliant man, you could barely understanding him trying to convert that into the mathematical language that made sense to him, and then immediately getting confused. And you know, you can see, or I could see, you know, someone who understands about both worlds that they come from can understand where they get confused. It's a really
Yeah,
amazing series of lectures.
beautiful.
It
Wow.
really is nice. I'll see if I can find them and send them to you.
Yeah, I would love to see. I would love to see. Love to watch that. Yeah. Yeah, in the story, it may seem as if trying to find it uh, somehow is being missed, is missing it. But when you're not just it is seen as well. There can be that wow. Uh, if I could call it wow moment happening. Oh, it's so simple. Simple. It just is. There's no efforts to find this, to see. the recognition, as I always say, the recognition as well in the story, it may seem as if it belongs to someone. It's going to belong to someone when it is seen. But really, when it is recognized, when there's that recognition, it doesn't really belong to anyone. It's just a recognition that it just is.
Yeah,
It's just
there's nothing to get. There's nothing to hold on to. There's no one to hold
yeah,
on to it.
yeah. It's more like waking up in a dream. When there's so much going on in the dream, then trying to figure out the way to sort different problems in the dream when you're sleeping. And then when you suddenly wake up, you recognize, oh, it was just a dream. What a relief. So here, nobody wakes up. It's just waking up, recognizing that it's just this.